What's going on YouTube? For this episode of the Ohana cast, we're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to be hosting. I'm Matt. I'm here with Corey, Metz, and we have Alex Perkins, who made top 64 in Vegas with us. We were all in Vegas, so we're all going to review how that went for us, talk about deck lists, talk about the winning list. Um, let's start off with Corey. How was it for you?
For me, Vegas was pretty good. I didn't do as well as I wanted to. Uh, I was rolling pretty well the first 3 rounds, and then the fourth round I played a mirror match. I was on red purple. I won on the draw, and then when I got to on the play, I molded my hand into 5 uninkable cards, and proceeded to lose a game I should win, and then I got pretty clobbered from in the next round by an Amber Still, and that just killed my tempo the rest of the day. Because from there, I was basically on I have to 2-0 everybody to have a shot, and everybody that I faced was in the same position. So ended up not getting there. So I broke the 30-point threshold at least to get the extra tickets, and then that was the end of my day.
Yeah, 2-game format, always tough. How was it for you, Metz?
I think the deck was pretty good for the format. We were all three of us actually were purple red, weren't we?
Yeah.
I had a lot of matches where I absolutely destroyed my opponent one game and had a very, very close loss in the other. I ended up 2-1-6. Also got to the 30-point threshold, but Amber Steel matchup, I hoped to split, and I split the only one I saw, and then blue red, I unfortunately split one and 2-0'd another. But yeah, blue red and a blur purple were my two 2-0s, and then just splitting all day.
Did you know, me and Corey played the same list. Do you know what your differences were off the top?
Um,
Did you play 1-3s? No.
I played 4 1-3s and 4 followers. Was on 0 of the 5-drop Elsa. Were you guys on those?
We did not
No.
play.
Okay, I was on the none of those. And
Played Big Sisu.
one big Sisu, which came in handy versus Amber Steel, of course. That's half the reason it's there. Saw Green Steel twice, and I got 2-0'd by it, and split with the other one. That's my one time I got 2-0'd.
Yeah. I elected to not play the Big Sisu because I didn't want it rotting in my hand. I went 5-1-3 for a Let It Go. We played the 1-3s. I liked them a lot on the event on Friday, which is kind of the main thing I wanted to take away from playing in Constructed on Friday was if I wanted 1-3s or not. And I played Song multiple times, and it felt good then. They had the Zeus Olaf off the board multiple times. And then Alex played Amber Emerald, the discard variation, and did a lot better than all of us. So if you'd like to tell us about your experience.
Oh, you're muted, Alex.
Yeah, we can't.
Can you hear me now or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it was my first DLC. Very excited about that. I did play Emerald discard. I just felt getting rid of everybody's hand was probably the main goal of the deck, obviously, and then just under the sea and everybody by turn 4 or 5. Overall, it was a good day. I went 5-0-4. I probably played my worst 3 matchups in a row. Round 5, I played Blue Steel on stream. I was lucky enough to draw with him. There were people like, "Why'd you make this play? Why would you make this play?" And I was literally digging for we don't talk about Bruno's on the stream or whatever. And then round 6, I actually played another Blue Steel player, and I drew with him, which was good. And I feel like those were my worst matchups. And then I think it was round 7 I played against Red Blue. I got very lucky and drew with him as well. And then I won my last 2 rounds 2-0, which got me into top 64. So overall, it was a good experience. The fact that you have to 2-0 5 people and you cannot get 2-0'd is crazy. So very lucky. And then it's just your day when you top 64. It's just how it goes.
Yeah, the 2 game format is. I really like it because it never feels like you're out of it truly. Like there's always a shot at contending for at least to let it go, until you get like 0-2 like 3 times. I feel like then you're like kind of cooked. But I also dislike it because it is super unforgiving if you do get 0-2'd. I don't think anybody that I think like worst loss you could only afford 1 loss. I think was like unless you were like 6-2-1 in like Fort Worth. I think was like the only people that made it with like more than 1 loss. So
Or of course 7-2 would also be
yeah,
very in.
but you have to like
you would split in at 6-2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-game format, definitely unforgiving. I think discard's a great choice for a 2-game format.
I was very close to playing it myself. I didn't want long matches all day. That's the other deck I had built for Vegas, and after playing all day Friday, I was like, there's not a shot I want to play these very drawn out matches that have like that deck is difficult to pilot. You can easily mess it up. Whereas purple red is like, all right, this line is a lot easier to find and get to. You kind of just have it or don't.
Yeah, I like that deck a lot. I tried to play it a lot at the beginning of this format and quickly started getting frustrated and felt like I wasn't a good enough pilot to do it because the lines per matchup are very complicated.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I haven't played against blue steel or red blue with emerald amber, not once. So I was going into it just praying. And the only reason why I played the decks is I like Diablo, so I really just played because Diablo is my favorite
love
card.
Diablo too. Yep.
And I got very lucky. Like those are the only 3 hardest matchups that I played. And to be honest, I think the only reason why the 2 blue steels even tied is because they would rip Whole New World and just refresh their hand. Yeah. And I'm just like, there's just no shot. Like you draw 7. Now I'm back to where I was, and that's what kept them in the game for the most part. So
and with blue they play like bigger characters. Like with Steel Song they have wheels too, but a lot of their characters are 2 or 3. So when you shrink them, you can see the entire board. Or again, with blue, they have enough to stand there and look at you like, okay, that was cool.
yeah.
Alex, did you play many Steel Song on the day?
I think I played 2 of them. My last round was a Steel Song, and I reversed to Odom. Honestly, he should have won. There was I forgot if it was game 1 or game 2. When I Diablo'd his hand, he had 3 Daisy Ducks, and with Amber Emerald, you can't beat him fast enough. All he had to do was just summon the Daisy Ducks for 3 or 4 turns, and he would have won. Because he would have just, and I think the only reason why he didn't do it is because he didn't want to give me card draw, which I would say 40% of my deck is what do you call them? I call them spells.
Actions.
Actions, yeah, actions. And so I think he would have done a lot better if he just summoned the daisies and attacked, but he didn't. He just went the Robin Hood play, grab your sword, stuff like that, which gave me an edge in that match.
You just have to in that situation. You would have just had to set up like Cindy, Ursula, and pray that you see it under the sea to like get rid of the daisies.
Yeah. And I think the other Steel Song player I played earlier in the day, he got I wouldn't say he got lucky, but he was top decking and he top decked he had a Robin Hood on the field and he was at 18 and he top decked Big Robin Hood, which gave him the 2 shift or 2 war instantly, which won him that game because I was going to beat him next turn. Other than that, my matches were pretty easy. I think I did very well tying against my 3 hardest matchups, which were blue steel and red blue.
Yeah, that is like one thing that I do enjoy about the 2-game format is like if you have a pseudo unwinnable matchup, but you're able to take like the 1 game off of them in that format, you can walk away with a draw instead of having to have the third game and be looking down the barrel kind of situation.
Yeah, the split and the unfavorable matchup definitely is the only time it doesn't feel horrible.
But I think we also saw though that discard went back to its old roots as we look at the top list. If we want to pull up Zahn's list, we can talk about that.
Green Steel fill it up. Zahn Saeed won the tournament playing the Green Steel discard. There was a lot of different variations of the deck. Zach Bibbins was in first seed through Swiss with a completely different build. And then Ed and then the crew from NorCal came out with a list that was very similar to this, with one of them taking second place, where the main difference you said was 4 coves to 4 Anos.
I think for the other list that we saw, they were playing 4 Ana and no cove, or it was like 1 cove, 3 tink, 4 Ana.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
No cove, and then Bivens was 4 cove.
Yeah. And then
we see Morph coming in as the 2-drop with no Bucky now. Not heavy on the Floodborns, the full Diablo, full Beast, and then only 2 Tinkerbells. I saw it used for Beast a lot. I saw the play of shifting Morph in with Diablo and then just playing another Diablo on 3 a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Pete, obviously an all-star of this deck and matchup.
Yeah, Pete to just protect your Diablo for a turn is great sometimes to help you maybe find a cove to avoid brawl. I think cove is needed in this deck. I played a lot of Green Steel last set. It's pretty different, but it's also very similar. Prince John being back as a 4 of his deck cards can feel clunky sometimes, but it's very good when it gets online.
Yeah, I also saw Pete just be used on like turn 3 or 4 to kind of just turn off the Ursula Deceiver of All and then give you the tempo to kill it, which I found quite interesting and used to it being the stop the board wipe or the big action cards. Has its place in the mirror match for it. Hypnotize returning as a discard card. With Prince John, like you mentioned, nice to draw 2. Most of the lists.
Card 1 draw 2 is great.
I think I'll actually be playing Hypnotize and Amber Emerald for Seattle. I'm going to either play Emerald Steel or Amber Emerald. And I'll definitely put that card in my deck, whichever version I play.
I see that in my colors as well.
Yeah. I think the only card like that I didn't see in the other list too was the Muses. I think the Muses is good in certain matchups just to like loop your Ursula, or to loop the Ana, just because that like having that multi-tool effect, you don't have to play as many copies, and it can keep your uninkable count down a little bit lower. I also saw a lot of Pete on 3 to stop brawl in the Ruby Amethyst matchup. So I think the utility of that card is we all kind of called it. Like I think most people that read that card were like, this card's going to be insane, and we're just seeing it come to fruition as the set progresses.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see the return of Sad Beast at 4 and being powerful. Finally just going to shift him out on 3 and just let him do his thing for 3 turns before he's in danger.
Yeah, I can see a world where we had big Robin Hoods back without the little one. Just kind of shift in on 3 also and just be a big threat to the board.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. There was some Robin Hoods in the top 64 lists.
Were they on 1-drops also?
They were playing the 1-drop.
Because this list only has 4 1-drops. I built this exact list and was testing it some this week. And it you really have to find Diablo or have like a Morph beast, like into a. We don't talk about Bruno or some removal. Or
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of
sure
behind.
this suffers from the same problem Bucky Discard did, where you dump your hand out, get in the Diablo line and other stuff, where you then have to draw into your answers, and then if Diablo gets answered right away, you're kind of in a bad spot.
I feel like this deck is a little better at top decking because it has like there's a ton of answers, a ton of very good draws. Whereas before you draw in like a random Floodborn into an open board and it would just feel really bad. Or one drop Diablo is always going to feel bad at the end. But
True. And then we had our friend Jonathan Lamb Chops, pilot Blue Steel to a 4th seed after Swiss. I'm not sure exactly what his final standing was. He got a gold Mickey.
I think he lost in top 8.
He lost in top 8. I think he finished 6th overall.
Yeah, lost in top 8. Very tough match against Red Purple in game 3, to where he had game on board, and he won by being able to draw Goat and play it and prep himself.
He got 5th after final standings. Yeah, I think we talked to him too about his top 8 match, and there was at one point in the game where he had the Tamatoa in play, and he chose not to quest it, probably expecting it to get countered the next turn. He didn't want to make it vulnerable, so he could dime it because he had dime in hand already, or in play. And if he would have quested it, he had game. And I think that's something that he talked about after the match, saying he should have just quested it. The Merlin's Cottage is kind of a super spicy card, but it kind of like it was a little surreal to see at the end because he basically foresaw the goat coming in off the song, off of the Friends, after it was flipped over with Merlin's Cottage.
Fun to get to see on stream the power of the cottage. He said he played it, so when he wheeled, he got to see their hand and Thoughtseize play around everything. He said it was great all day for him. He elected for 3 aerials this time, no bells. He went for a couple bells, no aerials at the 10K, where he did well. He did play Argus. He said he liked Argus a lot. I saw all the Blue Steel players who didn't play Argus were very much missing him. 3 Forge Sphere. We got him up on a Forge Sphere.
Yeah.
I didn't get to ask about Let It Go. 3 Let It Goes is normally a higher up count for a Blue Steel list.
I think it's just good because I think from what the couple of games that I watched, I think he was very big on the getting the Cogsworth established. And I know being able to sing it and just like remove a big character, or probably for like the red blue mirror to just like get rid of their Tamatoas and put it somewhere where they can't get it again is probably pretty good. Argus, I think Argus is a powerhouse just because being able to trade into the 3-drop Sisu that is like a 1/4 but gets the extra attack boost is just super solid. And you're turning off Flynn for most of the time, unless you're like not having the ramp cards to dump your hand.
Yeah, I know R&B also played Blue Steel thanks to his poll voting on it, and he wasn't too happy with his results. I would have liked to see what his list was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of 3-ofs in this, which is interesting. Cards that you think
always just plays like, I'm sure he's got reasoning, but looks like a pile to everybody else.
I know certain cards, like you see, Tamatoa at 3.
Open the set 5-pack and put them in here. He was like, a depot, a visions, a cottage. Let's do it. But then now let's go ahead and get Alex's Amber Emerald list up here, and he can talk us through his choices.
Alrighty, so as everybody knows, if you play Diablo, the whole goal of Diablo is to protect Diablo.
So just to kind of see the list here, the Be Our Guest was mainly to just filter through the deck to find hopefully the missing piece, whether it be Diablo or Prince John or Ariel turn 2. If I have a little Diablo on the board and I don't have the big Diablo, then turn 2, I'll play Be Our Guest, hopefully get Diablo, which I got it a couple times. A couple times I got the Ariel, and it just helped from there. I think it was my round 5. I forgot. I'm pretty sure I just played Be Our Guest just to filter through to find Kita. I think I was looking for Kita, so I could under the sea them, but it wasn't to be found. And then Painting the Roses Red, that was an alright card. I really just used it for draw. I think I might take it out moving forward. As you guys can see, I have one drop, which is my Diablo. So every time I open my first 7 cards, if I didn't have Diablo, either one, then I'm just shuffling them all back. No matter what. The goal is to get Diablo established and kind of go from there. And I would say probably like 80% of the time I always had Diablo, which was nice. Ursula, the yellow one, Vanessa, she's just there just to hopefully stick against Steel Song, and then she's a singer 4. I don't know if I'd play her moving forward. Really didn't do much for me. Bare Necessities, that's the other card. Anytime that I had Bare Necessities in my hand, I would always just keep the 1 copy, just to protect Diablo for turn 2. Get rid of those brawls. I was really worried about Be Prepared and stuff, but it's mainly just brawls, fire the cannons, babooms, let the storm rage on, stuff like that. My ratios, you can see I played 1 Ana. I'd probably play like 3 of her if in the future. 2 Kita. Kita was nice. I really don't think I used her ability that much. I mean, she's nice to like decrease everything, but I don't know. I don't know if I really needed her. Cricky was MVP. He helped me get rid of a lot of problematic cards and things like that. And then everything else is pretty much standard in the list. So.
I always saw Kita as a bigger part of the list, so I find it interesting that you said she wasn't as impactful, and then you might not even need her. Would you look at something like In Through the Woods, or you just don't even feel the need?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably keep her at maybe 2, maybe 1. The most important card in the deck is Bruno, in my opinion. Like, just getting that Bruno. That's what I was digging for most of the time with Ariel. It's like I want to see Bruno, because Bruno just outs everything in the game. And, I mean, that was my main goal. And now that I saw Hypnotize, I'll honestly probably take out the Ursula and the Be Our Guest just for Hypnotizes, just to get rid of 1 card out of their hand, draw a card, and then hopefully have Prince John on the field at that time as well. Sir Hiss, I don't know if I'd play Sir Hiss. I mean, he's good. He's evasive. I actually lost my top 64 match. He was playing Purple-Green, which was probably my worst matchup. Like, his field was Pegasus, Sir Hiss, Pegasus, Curse Merfolk. All by, like, turn 3. And I really can't do anything until turn 4 to get rid of that stuff. So, You Have Forgotten Me, probably the best card in the deck. I will say, when I played at the 10K, I didn't know at the time. I've only played this deck 3 times. I played 5 rounds at the 10K, and then there was a case tournament at Dragon's Ward. I didn't know that you could activate an action, and it didn't have to fulfill the action. So if it said discard 2 cards, I thought you had to discard 2 cards. So when I was at the 10K, I didn't know that I could just play it to get rid of 1 card out of their hand. And there's many games where I was like, oh, I could have just played this, got rid of the 1 card in their hand, but instead I held it because I just didn't know. So those were some cool things that I learned that were very important for this tournament. That definitely helped out a lot.
Yeah. I guess, like, maybe it's just matchups. Do you just feel like you didn't need to shrink? Was it because you were mostly playing aggro decks in your matchups that were, like, more susceptible to the End of the Sea? Or did you win more of your games just off your opponent not having hand?
There were many times I undered the sea, but a lot of their characters just weren't even big enough. Like, Because like when I have aerial, like I'm just Brunoing everything, and then under the sea is just for all the little pesky stuff. Ana takes care of anything that I damage. Like there's many times where I would just damage a character turn 4 and then turn 5 get rid of it with Ana. I mean, Kita's definitely important. I don't know if I'd take it out completely, but I wouldn't play more than 2 moving forward. I definitely like the 2 ratio playing Kita, but I wouldn't play any more than that.
Any thoughts on bringing in a 1-drop Kita? I mean, I know you're trying to cut those Kitas, but is that ever a thought process?
Not really. I don't really care for 1-drop. I mean, because the issue with 1-drops is like for this particular type of deck, like Diablo is the best one you can have. If you have Kita, you don't want to draw 1-drop Kita turn 4 or turn 5, turn 6. That's why a lot of people cut out the 1-drops for say like the Emerald Steels and stuff like that. Is because like we don't want to draw a Robin Hood turn 4 as a 1-drop. We want to draw stuff that actually does stuff. So as far as the 1-drops go, I don't know if I'd add anything in there. The only one that I think I might change is the Queen. I might play 4 1-drop Queens and 4 of the big Queens, just because she's a shift 5 on 2. Yeah. Ideally, I would shift her on 3, and then Under the Sea would be live turn 3 with Diablo and Big Queen. So that might be something I try. And then she can just sing all of the songs on her own, Bruno and all that good stuff. So that's something I might consider for Seattle.
Yeah, I understand that sentiment with because when I was on Green Steel last format, me and Matt were both on it. And we were talking about cutting 1-drop Robin Hoods completely, just because we just got tired of like late game. You draw a 1-drop that does nothing for you, so it's like really annoying. You just want to see it on that turn 1 and then never again.
Right.
So I definitely understand that.
But you really wanted Diablo. That's like what Alex was saying earlier. Like even with the Robin, you'd rather Diablo on 1.
Yeah. No, you always want the 1-drop Diablo on 1 just so you have the shift line for it. But I was just saying, like, not going over 4 just so you don't ever see it like late game or reduce your chances.
There were many times where, like in my mulligan, like let's say my first 7, I had Diablo, and then Big Diablo. I would keep all 3 and just ink the 1-drop just so I know there's not.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do that later.
You know, great. And it's like, oh, you should probably shuffle these back to get better cards. And I'm like, I just don't want to see this turn 6, turn 7.
I'm definitely not going to draw it. I know it's in my inkwell. Like that's
So
sure.
I did that a lot. Yeah,
it's the mulligan strategy. We also adapted last format as well. We're like, if you see multiple 1-drops, you just hold them because then they're free ink and you don't have to worry about drawing it later. So
right.
I agree with that.
And another tech card I think I might consider is the 4-drop Ursula. That's a shift. She's a shift 2, discard a song, kind of like Diablo, and then when she quests, reveal your opponent's hand and discard a non-character card.
Yeah.
I might try putting that in there as a one of, just to, because like a lot of times Ursula just sticks on the field, like she doesn't go anywhere. The green one that you drop, and so I might try that later on as well.
Yeah,
she's not a threat unless you're in green purple. She's not really a threat normally.
Right.
Yeah, the shift Ursula target's something I wanted to see work in this colorway for a while, because you get the chance to play both the 2-drops, and then she continues with the discard theme. And then I think we're going to briefly take a look at the list that me and Corey played. It's a red-purple list that's pretty standard. It was 1 card different than the one that Kendall played. He played a second Tremaine and only 2 crabs, and then he did not play the 1/3s. He played the brooms, but he also decided to cut down on a library and the big Sisu, which I felt like was just a good move for this format, or this event, I should say. I think, like we just discussed, we'll definitely be having to go down from the 8 1-drops. I think that's going to be the way across the board for everyone, to deal with this card like we did last format. Everything else about the list, I feel like, is pretty standard. Do you have any additional thoughts on it, Corey? We decided no Elsa.
So I tested Green Still with Mets the other day after we put it together, and I unfortunately think we have to play Elsa. I do think we can cut down on the one drops because there was a lot of times where I was just like drawing a one drop and inking it. So I want to go down. It's sure it'll make us a little bit more susceptible to like Ivor aggro type decks, but I think Elsa still lean on. I was on 4 Brawl 2 Elsa and testing against Green Still, and I mean it felt great. I'm not gonna lie. I think I won like one game out of our first like 2 matches or 3 matches without it, and then after I put it in, I think I won most of the other games we played. Just not even because it just answers Diablo, but anything else they try to establish, or like if they go like try to another card and morph or another card and something else, just being able to like take out the morph shift line. Also, I don't know, I think it was just a lot better after I added it. And they don't really have an evasive card, so you're able to like use that Elsa to like quest for a little bit or to like sing friends and not have to worry about it getting removed. So I do think you have to play Elsa. I think 2 Elsa was fine. I didn't find myself wanting more. And I think that was the only thing. I think in the list I took out the last library just so I didn't have to cut a brawl after putting in the Elsa, just to make sure optimize my chances of finding the answer to Diablo on 3. Kind of similar to like last format, I guess. Just simple, smooth. Make sure you keep the brawl, just in case you're playing against it, and then that was it. As far as this format, like as far as I guess like Vegas, I thought the list was super solid. I didn't see any Diablo, so I didn't miss it at all. The only thing I think I missed was the Sisu, and that was just one time out of my like 9 rounds, just because I was playing Still Song and I really wanted to just like board wipe them on like turn 5 or turn 5 out and just shifted her in. But it's just I don't think it's necessary still, even in going into like the I guess discard side of this meta. But
And we'll see what happens with that. I mean, Blue Steel could come back to counter that very, very easily. There's a low percentage of Blue Steel there. There's like 6%, no, like 3% or something. So it's not a whole lot of it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say because I made my decisions like thinking I play a lot of Song, it would be most played, and thinking that was a rough matchup for us. And then I only played it one time in Split, so I didn't really get to see it all in action. You said it wasn't the greatest, which I'll have to believe. And then
I mean, my first Amber Still match was I got completely blindsided by 3 daisies game 1 on like turn 5, and then on turn and then going second they just had like perfect curve. So it was just it's just one of those matchups where if they got it, they got it, you know.
yeah, I still think Song's perfect curve makes them like the scariest deck in the format, like it's always been. Going forward to Seattle, I'm sure we now see Green Steel get played a lot more, kind of force its way into a big 4 or a top 4 decks being played, maybe even bumping out Red Purple a little bit. But what are you guys thinking about playing in Seattle?
Green Steel.
Green Steel. I think anything green, you'll be fine. Like I know for Vegas, it was either Green Steel, Green Amber, or Green Purple were my 3 choices. I was 100% playing Green Diablo, 100% playing Diablo. So Vegas is going to be Diablo. It just depends on the other color.
Diablo's just if you don't answer him, you win. Like
yeah, he just does too much.
But yeah.
Yeah, or like the idea of not playing Pete when he's so powerful just doesn't seem like the best idea, is how I'm kind of approaching it. Feel like
Yeah,
steal something.
And spoiler for the Peter Pan for next set, that's gonna go right into green steel.
yeah.
What is it?
Um, I think for me, I'm leaning towards Sing Song. Um, I've been testing it with the list that we gave Tanya for the Sunday side event, and I am having a lot of success with the deck. I think it's in a really good spot, especially with other steel decks being prevalent and a lot of Diablo in the meta. I think it's a good counter for that deck. Um, if not, I'm probably gonna have to make something else work in terms of maybe green purple. Um, I like green purple a lot, um, just because you can kind of outdraw the discard and still get you have the aggro advantage for like the blue red that'll still be in the meta, the red purple that'll still be in the meta. Um, so we'll see how it goes. But I've been liking Steel Song a lot in testing. What
Yep,
about
and
you, Matt?
uh, for me, I think something with Pete has to be it. I feel like he showed that he's really top dog. He's gonna turn off a lot of strategies if you know how to use them. They can't discard you if Pete's live. Here we have the new Peter Pan. It was just revealed today, I believe.
Yeah,
It's a 7-drop inkable 4/6. It enters play exerted, and then while this character is exerted, each opposing player can't gain lore unless one of their characters is challenged this turn. You
That's
said
pretty
you
cool.
see this in green steel mats?
I could see it as a finishing card because you can play this and then you can like shoot goats and they don't get any lore, and their castles aren't getting lore at the beginning of their turn. Um, it could just like win you a game on the spot, kind of. I
yeah,
don't know how playable it is. It is inkable. It is 4 power. Those are two key parts to the card, and the fact that it comes in exerted to be online right away.
I think this card is unplayable.
I agree.
We've
I
said
don't
that
think I
about
would
other
play it
cards.
either.
It could.
I just played like Clarabelle, like if we're doing something like that.
That's
I
fair.
think it would be infinitely better if it was like a shiftable card.
It would
That
be,
like if
but
you could like
we'll
shift it for
test it.
5. But I like also think that if you're at the point in the game where this is winning you the game, your opponent is probably
Yeah,
you're either already winning or your opponent's like
you're
empty
just
board,
you're just
not with
being a
nothing.
bully. You're just messing with them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I just feel like all the lists now just becoming so tight where you really can't even afford to tech in like a cute card like this, even though it might be fun.
what? So you're not playing Vanilla P for Seattle?
That card's awesome, dude. That kills Diablo. Elsa does not kill Diablo at the Cove.
Last night when we were testing, Matt showed up and I was like, Matt, you put in Elsa's in your list for
Absolutely
Diablo,
not.
and he's like, no, he's like, I put in Vanellope, the 4-drop
Comes out a turn
3/3.
earlier, kills it at the Cove. They have to tap Diablo down. I'm not worried about tapping it down.
When I was playing green purple, Elsa's my favorite card. I'd play 4 of that card. I think she's OP.
Yeah, I was
Elsa
playing when
doesn't get lots of
I was testing green purple before I switched to blue red and then inevitably red purple, and I was playing her at 4. And then before that, I was playing blurple and I was playing her at 4. I think she's a really good card for the purple for amethyst in general, but
Mm.
I think for ruby amethyst, I don't think she's like a solid fit in the deck. I just think there's other stuff you'd rather be doing with the
It's just too
5-ing.
late, I feel like. Like,
Yeah,
I would rather go the 2-drop Pinocchio if I was really worried about tapping stuff down.
yeah.
Question I have they announced the side events for Seattle, like the Friday event to
Mm,
pre-reg for that yet? Or
I'm not sure.
No, I forgot when they do
They-
that.
They usually don't do any of the side event pre-reg until like the week or the day before.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think it was
okay.
like last Monday, right? Like Monday before
Yeah.
the week.
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. So
Yeah, the competitive. Like if we want to talk about a side event, so I think the competitive side event that they host like every day is crazy, especially if you're an attendee or you didn't do good in the main event. Having the opportunity to play 8 rounds to get like 400 tickets or 300 tickets or top 8 and get 97 tickets and
To
get
paid out is nice.
yeah, it's super good. Like that was such a smart idea for them to add that event.
30
And
seconds, 75 tickets in the Friday one.
And it
That's
saves a lot of people on their side when running a ton of different events. You just have 500 or 250 in that one event.
Yeah, I think, and then I think the only misstep that I saw from the side events or from the event in general, the DLC, was the set one side event being $60 was a little greedy in my opinion. I understand why set one's not getting printed anymore. The price per pack is up, but like it just seemed a little greedy to like juice those side events like $15 extra.
Yeah, it doesn't seem the greatest to overcharge their own product, but it is what it is if it's actually not being printed again.
Yeah, we'll see.
let's hope it doesn't get reprinted.
I hope it doesn't also.
All right, before we finish it up, does anyone have any final takes?
Play green for Seattle if you want to win.
Like green for Seattle if you want to win. I hope they reveal red item removal. That's what I want.
I would say play Pete if you want to win Seattle. I think Pete is so good. Any form of steel. Green, I understand why Green still won, and I think a lot of it is because of Pete. Just being able to turn off actions. Got full board, and I top deck. I sing Friends, and I draw Brawl and Pete prep, and I can't do anything and just lose. And it's rough. It's hard out here.
All right, then we'll finish it up here. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
I appreciate you guys.
Congrats on your top.
Congrats.
Thank you. Hopefully I get my invite on the next one.
Yeah, hope to see you have more success.